Greetings and welcome back to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment. We are here to talk about the Q&A. We're here to talk about the Q&A. We're here to Q in the A. Well, I have no idea. We're just talking about using mechanical lenses on mirrorless cameras, how exposure works, how focusing works, and now I'm here to answer any questions you might have, or at least I will make an attempt to do it. So let's see what's going on over here in the chat room. Bring the comments up on the screen. And Jake, good morning to you. Elastic holsters. I'm not quite sure where that was going, but we'll leave that alone. All right. Marco says, I would really appreciate it if you could put the focus of your shows a bit more in the direction of streaming and streaming equipment again. I haven't done a show on streaming in a while. So Marco, the whole thing of the show is it's all about photography, video, and of course live streaming being the third part of that. And really the only reason I talk about live streaming is because you kind of need a camera to do it. And because this is a live show, so I do have a bit of experience on it. You want another show on live streaming? It's been a while since I've done one on live. Give me some specifics of what you want to know about in live, and I will try to tailor a show to you. Serge says, peaking's detect level should have been named sensitivity. That makes more sense. I get it. I totally agree. The high and low is a weird thing, like high sensitivity, low. What does that actually mean? So yeah, detect level would be a better way to put that. But once you play with it, you kind of get it. You know what it is. You go, okay, now I get it. But yeah, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. Bing N, do you use auto ISO for the GH5? If so, do you set a limit for max ISO? Excellent question. So when I'm shooting video, I would say I go back and forth maybe 50-50. So if I am just total run and gun, I know that I want my shutter angle to be 180 degree, or if I'm shooting on like the G9, doesn't have shutter angle 60th of a second. I know that I want that, right? So I'm gonna leave that solid. I'm not gonna change that unless I absolutely have to. The aperture, I'm almost always going to shoot wide open because I want a little bit of shallower depth of field, so that is fixed, which means the only thing left to change is the ISO, unless I have a neutral density filter on there. So if I'm shooting, actually I would say even with an ND filter on there, if I am just kind of run and gun and I just don't want to have to think about it, or I just want the camera to be ready when I pull it out of the bag and not have to even pretend to change any settings, then I'll leave it in auto so that it is just ready to go. I push the button and it's recording and the exposure is going to be accurate. And if I want to make a change at that point, even while it's recording, I can do that, right? I can make that change. If I'm being more deliberate about it, so it's not a vlog style run and gun, I'm actually out shooting something, in that case, I am going to go manual ISO. And I will probably, well, I will go as close to the native ISO as I can. So in the case of like the GH5S, you've got a native ISO of 400 and 2500. So I will lock into one of those, and then I will adjust the exposure with the variable ND. And same thing on the GH5, I'm going to adjust the exposure as much as possible with the variable ND. If I can't and I have to adjust the ISO, then I will, but I will try to leave it at its native so I get the cleanest image possible. So it really just comes down to what I'm shooting. But the default settings on my cameras, I think it's set to 400. Yeah, I have it default locked in at, in using the C settings, the custom function settings, I have it locked in at 400. So whenever I turn the camera on, it's there. But I also know that it's a very quick bump of the thumb dial, right? I have the camera set so that my ISO is on here on this command dial in the back. So I know that when it's at 400, it's just a very quick, like one flick, and it's going to drop it down to ISO. So if I need to go automatic, it's just boom, and I'm ready to go. So that's kind of my default position, if you will. All right. Hope that was helpful to you. Trevor says, which do you use more, focus peaking in camera or good quality external monitor? Oh, focus peaking in camera for sure. I don't shoot with an external monitor very often. If I'm doing any kind of run and gun stuff, I'd rather not have an external monitor if I can help it. And so the vast majority of the time I don't have one on there. So even if I had well, I do have a small one, a little 5-inch one, which we've looked at on the show before a little bit, and that's something I will be doing more on in the very near future, actually. That's awesome, but it's still another piece onto the camera. It's not very conducive to kind of vlogging style. I just want to carry this camera around all day long. In that case, I'm definitely going to use focus peaking. So yeah, I use focus peaking more. And even if I was using an external monitor, I would probably still use focus peaking. I would just have it on the external monitor because focus peaking is awesome. You really, really get to see what's in focus. Stuart says, going back to an old subject, how did you get on with the Godox flash equipment while you're away, and what did you think of it? Okay, so interesting question. I had been trying to get Godox to, well, I was trying to get them to be an official sponsor of the photo walk that I did. Complicated company, apparently. Never happened. But I ended up picking up a couple of Godox lights at B&H while I was there, part of my loaning program. I didn't buy them, I just borrowed them from B&H. And I've still got them, and I loved them. actually. They're really easy to use, really easy to set up. The command module that you put on the camera gives you total control over them. It was awesome. So I will be doing a show on that before I leave for India. So sometime in the next couple of weeks, I will do a deep dive into that. I used them on the photo walk in New York, and they were perfect. They worked great. So I like them. I like them a lot, and you can't beat the price. So I will continue. I will do another show on that. Right? We'll do a show on that coming up here over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, they're good lights. I like them a lot. Bing says, another question. Do you set the angle to 360 for low light or night video? So yes, if I am shooting very low light and I don't have a whole lot of movement happening, then yes, I will go ahead and open up the shutter angle to 360. So for anyone, actually if anyone's not sure about shutter angle and how that works, we'll link to a video up here that will explain all that. I did a video on that a little while ago, so we'll link to that one up here. But yes, I will open it up to 360, which is opening up all the way. That is the maximum exposure you could have at any setting to do that. So yeah, I got no problem doing that. Absolutely not. Tyler says, how do you set the rotation function on the back dial in the GH5? I wanted to set that to aperture for so long. Ooh, I think you can set it to aperture. Let's see here. Does this camera have a battery in it? Let's turn this on and see. This one, ooh, it does. Okay, so let me, what's the best way to do this? Let's, let me swap these out. And grab this cable here, and I will show you where it is. It'll take me a moment to find it, but we'll get there. Oops, that's the wrong side. And that is too short of, why that cable goes so short? All right. Put that in here. So this is the GH5S, but it's going to be the same on the GH5 or the G9. And I don't remember if you can change that on any other cameras, if you can take control of that command dial in the back. Okay, so let's do this. So what we're looking for is, I think under operation, function button. It's not function button set, is it? Record, no, it's not under the function buttons. Where? Dial set. Yep, there we go. Dial set, control dial. So the control dial is the one on the back. You can set it to, oh, I guess you can't, you can't set it to aperture. So there's different modes you're in. So it's showing you here when you're in program, aperture, shutter, or manual, what it's going to do. I have it set to ISO. You can set it to focus frame size, exposure compensation, or, there we go, aperture when in manual mode. So if you set it here, then when you're in manual exposure, not in aperture, shutter, or program, which is odd, I must say. It's a little odd. But when you're in manual mode, that will change the aperture. That appears to be the only place that will do that. So there you go. Let me back out of that again. You are in the custom wrench menu, so the C menu. Go to operation, go to dial set, and then scroll down to control dial assignment, and that's the one that you are looking for. Let's see, is there anything here? Nope, no. Yeah, that's what you want right there. So there you go. There's the setting. Sorry, that is kind of odd that you can't just do aperture all the time. Because you would think in this situation, I would want to have aperture on for aperture priority. But anyway, that's the way it is. So that's where the setting is. So if it's not exactly what you're looking for, I'm sorry, but that is what we've got. All right. And Tyler says close enough. Excellent. Okay. Any other questions in here? Nothing else. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything earlier on. And then we are going to bail out of here. That is it. Nope, that's it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in today. It was, as always, fun to have you on the show. We will do on Wednesday. You know what? I think I will do this on Wednesday because I need to do this now. So this is, we talked about this very briefly, this port keys 5-inch monitor, this one I was just referencing. I hadn't been able to do the full video because they had not sent out the most important piece of this thing called the long arm that apparently will allow me to control the camera from the screen at a distance. Interesting concept. That part has arrived. I have not yet opened it, so maybe I'll do that on Wednesday. If not, I got a couple other products here that are waiting for me to talk about, so we'll do one of them. Wednesday's going to be a product show. All right, guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.